lose them. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day?
Evening, everyone. Professor McCoy, welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. Sorry about Monday, or I hope you all had a good Independence Day. Enjoyed time with family, countrymen, fireworks, all that. But tonight, we are back here. Oh, really? We're back here, Dragon Age Inquisition, and tonight I'm actually planning on on actually doing some. What is this? Oh, this is for Cassandra. I'm planning on actually doing some main story quest. So, Bride Hath Wrought. So what I think we'll do is we will go and do this for Cassandra and this for Solus. And then we will go from there in the main story quest down in the Arbor Wilds, where we will actually confront Corypheus with a big old army and the whole shebang. Actually, hold on. We can just fast travel, can't we? Right, so we'll do the Hinterlands one last, because we'll take Solus as well for that one. For the other ones, take down Gordon the Frank in Puist Lyon. All right. Right there, huh? Yeah. Actually, yeah, no, that's probably the right place to go. Okay. So we need, obviously, Cassandra. We'll bring Vivienne from Puist Lyon. And let's bring Blackwall as well. We don't... bring Varric. Yeah, let's bring Blackwall. Haven't been bringing Blackwall much, not last time, but with all the dragons, so we'll bring him this time. All right. Anyway, so we're chasing down some old enemies of Cassandra, some enemies of the Seekers, if I recall, and working towards fixing things up for the Seekers, for the Chantry, etc. Go. Right. Let's go. This way.
Nothing to report, sir.
Excellent. Ooh. Spooky. What was that? What is that? Huh. Weird. I have no idea what that is. Interesting, though. Level up the couple we haven't been using in a little while. Meanwhile, I have there's been a lot going on in the news lately. Dispel. Yes, we do. Got all that. Got all the upgrades for Wall of Fire that we need. She used Fade Cloak. She does not use Fade Cloak. So we don't really need to upgrade it. We might need to upgrade Disrupted Field. Slow to a stop. Breaking them ends the effect. Or enemies take damage inside the field. Spirit Blade. No. Let's just stop people in place. And then Rejuvenating Barrier. Alright. So anyway. We in the news most recently, as of this has basically been a developing story as of last night. As of last night at least, and been developing as up until yesterday afternoon, evening. The fabled Georgia Guidestones, sometimes I think foolishly called America's Stonehenge. Oops, I think I just attacked a snow flare. I didn't need to do that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, the Georgia Guidestones kind of exploded the other morning. And then, since then, later in that day, due to structural errors, structural instability caused by the explosion,
There! The rogue mage!
it had to be torn down. Completely knocked over. Completely and totally knocked over, which was really quite the thing to see. So far, as far as I know, as of today, as of just before we started streaming, authorities don't actually know what exactly happened. They haven't been able to. They don't have a suspect. They don't have even a theory as to what caused the explosion. It's possible that it was explosives. It was actually caused by man-made explosives. But I've also seen even official speculation that it may have been lightning. A lightning strike exploded the thing. We'll see. But it brings up some interesting points to consider. I actually, if you'll forgive me for a moment, I have this. Let's see if we can. Yeah, here we go. All right, here's the explosion. As far as I know, the CCTV camera didn't actually capture anyone going up and placing the explosives, so either they were very careful about it and watching CCTV, knew where the cameras were and that sort of thing, or it's also possible that it was something like a lightning strike or some kind of natural or supernatural occurrence. In any case, back to the game. Oops. In any case, it was quite the thing to see. The George Guidestones, they have this air of ancient importance, especially with the America's Stonehenge connection. But it's important to remember that these were erected in, I think, 1979, 1980. So not that long ago, like 40 years ago.
There, a rogue mage.
Yeah, it was not very long ago, really, in the big picture, in any real historical terms, whether that's, especially not in world historical terms, but even in American historical terms, that was not that long ago, 40 years. So basically, this was meant as a sort of, how do I put it, a guide stone. It was put on rocks to give the otherwise fairly trite set of instructions a bit more gravitas. Oh, all the way up there. Anyway, the actual manifesto that's written on the things is basically an eco-terrorist screed. Live in harmony with nature. Don't produce polluting materials. Limit the world human population to, I think, 500 million, so 500 million people.
Nothing to report, sir.
In other words, murder 7 billion people, and maintain it there. And of course, because these people don't understand anything about the world, that would also mean utterly impoverishing the remaining 500 million people, which is just heinously evil. It is. I mean, I've talked before, and I've pointed in various directions about Thanos and his, snapping half the universe out of existence, and how not only evil but retarded that was. And this is worse. This is far, far worse. Because if there's 7.5 billion people close to it now, instead of getting rid of 3.5, 4 billion people, you're getting rid of 7 billion. That is going to cause unimaginable destruction and destitution. Even if it doesn't happen immediately, even if it's a gradual process, even if it is just, let people die off until we're down to 500 million or whatever it is. In any case, no matter how it happens, that would be horrifyingly destructive to the human species. And I mean, honestly, to the planet as well. The whole nature is healing because humans aren't around anymore is naive. Human beings are not exactly the scourge on the earth that environmentalists think we are. Particularly modern developed societies. Modern developed societies are usually not net polluters.
It's over.
We have this tendency. We have a tendency today in our modern Western developed societies to clean up the world far more than we pollute it. It's pre-modern non-Western societies that live on the edge of destitution, without things like global networks of trade, without the population needed to produce economies of scale, that sort of thing. It's those sorts of societies which produce an undue, disproportionate amount of pollution. That's what we did. We meaning sort of the now developed West. Before we developed, that's basically what we did. But it was a long time ago. Been a very long time since that has been a real, a significant concern. Can I go there? Yes, I can. Cool. Think about the greatest example of this is deforestation. The world, the percentage of the world covered by forests, went gradually down throughout the medieval to early modern period, then sharply decreased until the 18th, 19th centuries. But over the last 100 or 200 years, the global forested area has radically increased because we've been replanting, and we've been logging a lot less because we don't need wood for fuel, for example, and that's entirely a result of technological advancement. And the technological advancement is because we no longer need to cut down forests and destroy the environment like more primitive, less technologically developed societies had to, in order just to survive. We can afford to be environmentalists because we have an incredible amount of wealth, and because we have an incredibly large population.
It's over. Thank you for bringing us here.
Anyway, so the all this is to say that the eco-terrorist depopulation agenda, as typified by the Georgia Guidestones and other such screeds and manifestos and monuments, it is foolish in addition to evil. And I'm glad to see the thing gone. I'm more glad to see it destroyed than to see it not have been built. It serves as a sign, at least I think to me and to those of us who have some hope in society, that those ideas are passing away, as their creators largely have been. And I can hope that that trend only really advances. Need Solus. Why is he hurt like that? Stop it. Alright. This way. Is he need a level? No, he's good. Anyway. Yeah, it's. I'm glad to see the change. I'm glad to see that socially we're starting to, I think, learn that this whole
There, one of the rogue Templars.
This whole eco-terrorist thing is wrong-headed.
Sad that it came to this, but at least it is done.
Yeah, that was the last of them, I think. Yes, that was the last of them. Cool. Alright. Alright. So anyway, looking at the Guidestones, and particularly looking at their destruction. Now, again, whether this was intentional human action, what could, in a bit of a stretch, I suppose, be called vandalism, or if it was an act of God, so to speak, euphemistically at least. I think I don't mourn its disappearance, let's say. Mourn its destruction. It does, of course, give us an interesting set of thought experiments, though. Particularly with respect to legal theory. So, the Guidestones are perhaps most well known for being erected anonymously. They are on land that was basically unowned at the time, as far as I understand it. So it was homesteaded land, and was subsequently sort of set aside for the Guidestones. And I think this was a state enforced sort of arrangement. They are not. It is not land that is particularly owned by any given person. It's not like there's no one with a title to the land, as far as I understand it. So what this means is that, functionally speaking, the land that the Guidestones sat on, and the stones themselves, the actual henge, are either, and I don't know exactly the legal nuances of this. I suppose I should have looked this up, I guess. But they are either unowned or state-owned. And so, with their destruction, if supposing for a moment that they were destroyed by an act of intentional bombing, if somebody planted something and blew them up, they planted some explosives and blew the things up. Okay, suppose that's the case. Okay, then in that case, we have to ask: did they do anything wrong? Now, ordinarily, we would say yes. As it would be the destruction of private property, but even setting aside the destruction of an historical monument, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, I don't think. Well, I'll get back to that. But as far as the destruction of property point goes, ordinarily we would say that it would be an act of something like vandalism. Someone destroyed somebody else's property. But that's not the case. There we go. That's certainly not the case in this situation. It's not the case that this was the destruction of private property, because, as I said, it was either, as I said, unowned or owned by the state. Where's Cassandra? Need her to spell purge. She's already used spell purge. How does she use spell purge on a whim? And he doesn't have dispel equipped. Crap. That was stupid. Okay. We'll be fine. There we go. So if it is unowned, what that means is that it can be, the technical term would be justly homesteaded. Anybody can make use of the unowned property however they like, however they see fit. And that includes knocking down a set of I hesitate to say monolithic structure, because it's not, technically speaking, monolithic. It is, it's multilithic. Oh god, I'm mixing up Latin and Greek root words, aren't I? Whatever, you get the point. It's more than one stone. In any case, it's tearing it down is somebody working unowned land, basically. So there would be, functionally speaking, right, very, very precisely and technically speaking, there would be nothing wrong with doing so. The same, I would argue, would apply if it is state-owned. If it is government-owned, that means it's owned in common, which means, practically speaking, it is either, on the one hand, it's either stolen, which I don't think it was. I don't think it was appropriated by means of taxation or land acquisition through the state or anything like that. Or it is owned in common, which means it's unowned. Okay, if either of those is the case, if it's either unowned formally or if it's owned by the state formally, then that would mean that it is not owned by anyone in particular, and so the destruction of the Guidestones is not a crime. It doesn't infringe on anyone's property. Now, one might say that it infringes upon the rights of the property of the builder, the person who put the thing up. Whoever that was. Now we know who it was. It's the name is public. Whoever it was, I forget. I don't know the name offhand, but you can find it. You can look it up. It's not like this is particularly well hidden, but it was officially anonymous, and that's what matters. Because when this person established this site and established everything along with it, right, built the thing and enclosed the thing and all that, he did so without any kind of public title recognition or transfer. Because he specifically did it anonymously, he did it independently, not as part of society. And because it wasn't as part of society, society can't enforce rights of ownership to it. Unless he's going to enforce it himself, and I don't think he's even still alive, so that goes out the window. It certainly cannot be enforced by society or any proxy, because he hasn't appointed society or any proxy to manage the land. And so it is, even if it is legally owned, say by the state, it is functionally unowned. Because to do anything to it would be to aggress against no one in particular. It would be like going to unowned land, so the commons, and picking an apple. Yes, you've taken something from the world, but you haven't taken something from anyone in particular. And so there's no real problem. Certainly not a crime. Now, there's more to this. Let's see what Cassandra has to say. We just
I trust all is well.
No? Oh, okay.
That's enough for now.
We finished the thing. I
Another
thought we
time,
would
then.
finish taking out all those rogue mages and Templars. I thought she would want to talk. Maybe Solus will. Anyway.
Have to make sure it's cleared after.
Um,
Don't need squires losing feet.
But you'll notice that there is a criminal investigation going on. That should strike you as weird if you have anything like a coherent legal theory.
Inquisitor?
How this works and why there is some kind of an investigation going on is because it is being prosecuted and investigated by the state. The state is, functionally speaking, claiming ownership. They're claiming to be the wronged party as a stand-in or a proxy for society as a whole, which is, again, a fairly incoherent concept. And so, what's going on?
Changed you in any way? Your mind? Your morals? Your spirit?
I don't believe so.
Ah,
Why do you ask?
you show a wisdom I have not seen since my deepest journeys into the ancient memories of the Fade. You are not what I expected.
What have I done that's so surprising?
Humans are short-sighted, brutish, blind to the beauty of the Fade, their minds cast in a duality of black and white. But you have shown a subtlety in your actions, a wisdom that goes against everything I know of your people.
It seems everything you've been taught by your people has some holes in it.
I have seen enough of the world to know I was not misinformed. Most people are small, petty, but not you.
So what does this mean, Solus?
It means that I respect you deeply, Inquisitor. And I have disturbed you enough for one evening.
I don't know if I would think that, if I would attribute that to something like the big man theory of history, which is a possibility. I wouldn't put that sort of thing past Solus. Or if that would be more an understanding of something like natural aristocracy. That there are certain people who are of sufficient character to naturally lead, and that they should be able to, and they should have an obligation to, and people have an obligation to follow. That is a very traditional way of understanding authority structures. And it's again, from a political standpoint, it's not even, strictly speaking, incompatible with something like anarchism. You know, non-aggression principle, etc. The only thing that's odd about that is it's strange, at least strikes me as strange, to hear that kind of ideology, those kinds of ideas coming from Solus. He does not seem the type to honor a natural aristocracy. He seems very suspicious of that sort of thing, and he has reason to be. It's elven background. Especially with some more things we wind up learning about Solus along the way. It's very strange to me that he is so trusting of natural authority, so it almost makes me think of the sort of great man theory of history, that he sees someone in particular who is capable of shaping the great hordes of people who just sort of follow along. But that's not even, doesn't seem like that was what he was implying. It seemed like he was implying that most people are vicious in some degree, not just that they're insignificant, but they are small and petty in particular. I don't know. It's an interesting bit of characterization for Solus that I don't know exactly how it fits with the rest of him. He's certainly complex. It's something to keep in mind. Remind me of this as it comes up. I want to try and think this through, especially later on when we learn a lot more about Solus and his history and his sort of political outlook and all that. Anyway. So, we need to locate the weapon of Tirda Bright Axe. Inquisitor, as a longtime scholar of the ancient Avar, I find the information you uncovered about Tirda Bright Axe fascinating. Many believe the Avar are unsophisticated barbarians with no culture worth studying, but do not our legions say the same of us? The rich oral tradition of the Avar has been largely lost, leaving only these rune-marked fragments. Nevertheless, these confirm that what we have heard in stories, that Tirda pulled her tribe away from a would-be warlord, and chose a hard life in the mountains for uncertain reasons. It's fortunate that she did. For had the Avar remained, the ancient Almari might have pushed north and attracted the attention of the Neuromanian tribes that would one day form the Tevinter Imperium. Had that happened, it is likely that the Almari would have survived to become is unlikely that the Almari would have survived to become Ferelden as we know it. Okay, I'm following. This is very much like Barbarians of the Steppes kind of geopolitics. Based on marker runes left at each of these locations, I may be able to find the site where Tirda's legendary axe is located. A crystal-headed axe said to burn with flame would be fascinating to find indeed, if the Inquisition will finance my expedition. Provide the scholar with soldiers. Like the sneaky way. Distant ties to Ferelden nobility. There are nobles who would happily gain favor with Arl Eamon. Yeah, let's do the nobility route.
Let us begin.
Yeah. While we wait for that, I wanted to bring up another thing about the Jordan Guidestones, and particularly their sort of public ownership or their unownedness. That is very particularly interesting to me, especially just because they are, because of the ideology represented. It is an incredibly pagan, an incredibly sort of secular pagan, modern civic religion kind of thing, progressive, call it what you want. That's kind of the idea is at play here, and it's very pagan. And it's interesting that I've outlined before the idea that that people are that today at least a prominent, if not the prominent, and certainly the official religion of the United States and much of the West is a kind of imperial paganism, and that this is sort of a monument to that ideology in large part. What's particularly interesting in that is that it is being defended solely and exclusively by the state. It is not being defended by any individual, by any owner, anything like that, like any other religious structure would. That in particular really fascinates me. That what we see here is a monument to a sort of state paganism being defended exclusively by the state from either a private citizen or an act of God, as the case might be. Fascinating to me. That's all. It reinforces some preconceptions I have about the intersection of religion and politics. Let's say. Inquisitor, I have no idea what to say. Scholars have debated whether Turda's legendary axe was an axe set with crystal, an axe with magically reinforced crystal and head, or perhaps even just a very polished axe, but apparently the word translated from the ancient language commonly taken to be axe is in fact merely means hafted weapon. It is possible that translations of the saga have been edited to omit evidence that Turda Brideaxe might have been using what seems from all appearances to be a staff, as would more commonly be used by a mage. I apologize for my confusion in this matter. I will endeavor to be more diligent in my translations in the future. Yours, Sister Dorcas Guerin. Turda's staff. Cool. Alright, Ancient Library. Please convey my thanks to the Inquisition for their assistance. The Chantry expedition into the laboratory was a complete success. However, to say we were appalled by most of our findings would be an understatement. We shall send you the full documentation of our discoveries when it is complete. In the meantime, we uncovered a few artifacts of note that will still be serviceable. Baker's blessings upon you, Sister Rosalie. Okay. It's Defender staff. We'll do this eventually. But maybe I'll do some shard collecting and minor, unimportant side questing off stream. I will say this is already almost our longest single game series. Very close to it. Next week it will be tied with Red Dead Redemption 2. And we're not going to finish this game by next week. Even if I speedrun it, we're not finishing it by next week. Alright, so the dragon that Corypheus controls looks like an archdemon. Something else entirely. To defeat his threat, the Inquisition... Okay, we already read about this last week. We're trying to research dragons. Yes, so let's reach out to the Pentagast family with Cassandra's help. Okay. I cannot imagine the wealth of knowledge in Navarra. I could spend years reading the physical descriptions of dragons alone. I shall have to spend more time here. For the moment, however, I've discovered that dragon slayers of the past believe dragons to be unusually resistant to the blight. In fact, some believe that dragon physiology was capable of stemming the spread of the infection, although this was a mere hypothesis and never fully explored. Did you know? I sat on a chair made entirely of bleached dragon bone. It was magnificent, if not very comfortable. That is pretty cool. Alright, anything else we gotta do? No. Alright. Now, on to what Pride had wrought. We're slightly over-leveled for this, not extremely, so this should be a good go. A good time to do this. Okay. So, anyway, that's about all I think about all I have to say about the Georgia Guidestones and their destruction and their current past tensedness. But if anybody else wants to bring these up and talk about anything else that I haven't really addressed or go back over anything, if you're not sure anything about something I had to say, just agree, disagree, whatever, happy to go over it. It is certainly one of the more fascinating things to have gone on this week. That and hearing that Taika Waititi forgot that Natalie Portman was in Star Wars, that's cool. So that was neat. All right, let's do this.
With an illuvion, Corypheus could cross into the Fade in the flesh. Indeed, the Inquisitor can attest that these artifacts still work if one knows how to use them.
What happens when Corypheus enters the Fade?
Why, he will gain his heart's desire and take the power of a god.
What does that even mean?
Or, and this is more likely, the lunatic will unleash forces that tear the world apart.
Okay, yeah, that seems more likely. It does. Also seems a little bit more definable than he would gain the power of a god. Oregon being dramatic.
In Redcliffe, I saw the future Corypheus built. We can't let that happen. 'Twas always so, was it not? The madman would bury us all.
Sable, fix your
Pardon me,
posture.
But does this mean everything's lost unless we get to the Illuvian before him?
Corypheus has a head start, no matter how quickly our army moves.
We should gather our allies before we march.
Can we wait for them? We should send our spies ahead to the Arbor Wilds.
Without support from the soldiers, you'd lose half of them.
Then what should we do?
For starters, we don't let Corypheus worry us to death. Imagine how embarrassing that would be. Josephine, have our allies send scouts to meet us in the wilds. Leliana, your fastest agents will join them. Together, we'll have enough spies to slow down Corypheus's army until Cullen's soldiers arrive. Such confidence. But the Arbor Wilds are not so kind to visitors. Old elven magic lingers in those woods.
We'd be remiss to not take advantage of your knowledge, Lady Morrigan. Please, lend us your expertise.
'Tis why I came here, although it is good to see its value recognized.
Any further instructions, Inquisitor?
The Inquisition began as a handful of soldiers. Thanks to you, we're now a force that will topple a self-proclaimed god. I could ask for no finer counsel, no better guidance.
I speak for all of us when I answer. We could ask for no finer cause.
We'll hound Corypheus in the wilds before he can find the temple or this illuvion.
Gotta say it all French-like, don't you? Again, this is another instance where I keep pounding this home, but this is another part where it just feels providential. It feels like the Maker's on our side here. Or we're on the Maker's side, or whatever. It fits so well with the thematic structure of this game. Really. Alright, let's do it. Okay, who do we bring? Ancient Inventor. Okay, we have to. Oh, excuse me. We have to bring Solus because it's ancient elven stuff. We can bring Blackwall because we need a good tank. Bring Varric. You know what? Oh, I'm gonna regret this. Just for like party comp reasons, I'm gonna regret this. Kind of want to bring Sarah. She hates elves, but she is one. And her and Blackwall are fun together. Yeah, screw it. I'm bringing Sarah. I'm gonna regret this so much. I need to actually equip her properly a little bit and level her up extremely. Oh god, why am I doing this? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're over leveled. We'll be fine. We're leveled up a lot. We're okay. We can do it. Believe in us. I believe in our power. Like I was just saying, the Maker is on our side. The Maker was whispering to me, "Don't bring Sarah. Don't bring Sarah." And maybe I wasn't listening, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Intensely writing letters come in to armies. And the time it would realistically take to move armies or even scouts like this across the country, especially through wilderness like this. That's really something. I'm glad they montaged this. I really am. It's a little odd, the hole in the center of the shields.
Inquisitor,
How goes the battle, Captain?
the Red Templars fall beneath our blades, your worship. Commander Cullen says they're nearly finished. Our scouts saw Corypheus traveling towards an elven ruin to the north. We can clear you a path through his armies.
All right, let's do it.
Do only what you must. We need enough people for a celebration when we get back to Skyhold.
We will not fail you, my lady, no matter what comes. Andraste guide you, Inquisitor.
I forgot to switch out the dragon slaying
I
rune.
wonder, is it Andraste your soldiers invoke during battle, or does a more immediate name come to their lips?
They show me respect, Morrigan. No one mistakes me for the Maker.
True, you are far more likely to come to their aid than a chantry fable, but I digress. If your scouts report accurately, I believe these ruins to be the Temple of Methal.
Which is?
A place of worship out of elven legend. If Corypheus seeks it, then the alluvion he covets lies within.
What?
Let us hope we reach this temple before the entire forest is reduced to ash.
Was it magic, or was that, like, Cunari or Dwarven blasting powder? I really should have re-equipped a lot. God. She has 8 points to spend. Okay, let's go with... yeah, chain reaction's better. Full draw. Alright, she can take one more ability. She can... Oh no, she can use 2 more. Alright, cool. Briefly unconscious. 20 seconds. Or immobilized for 5. Why would I ever choose the other one? That's just strictly better. Okay, fully spec'd in her 2 main things. Let's go put some stuff into stealth just to give her the passives. Yeah, threat reduction. Alright. Everybody else is properly leveled. Let's see if she needs better equipment. Oh, my inventory's full. Oops. No, what she has is better. At least I think it is. Oops. You see, Turbo's under my desk. It is his new favorite spot because he realizes that it is safe from the children during the day. And he can be all cute. I'm not... No. No, neither of those are very good for her. That's just so much better, but how does it look? That's the important question. Oh, actually, no, that looks fine. She has is nice. Kind of strictly better in every way. She has grenades belt, superior grenades belt. Ring of flanking. And oh. Not the stamp, not the flanking one. How about the armor pen one? It doesn't get flanking damage, apparently. All right. Don't need it. Sorry, guys. I gotta get rid of some of this stuff. I wish I could just sell off all of my valuables right now. This is taking up tons of space. Ah, oops. I goofed it. Goofed this, guys. Could have, sold off all that stuff first.
Your faith in your commander is well placed,
Oh
Ambassador.
my god, Empress Silly.
Victory is all but in sight. We are gladdened to see you, Herald. This day will be recalled for ages. We are privileged to witness the fulfillment of the Inquisition's purpose.
Yeah, wow. That's quite something, Seeger, here.
The sight of our Orlesian allies risking their lives here humbles me.
Your worthy cause would have friends, even if we did not will it. Men and women of faith serve you. Their favor is no less than our own, their service no less dear. With Orlais at your side, we will see you victorious against Corypheus. May you walk in the light.
I really love the chant of light
Inquisitor,
and the
I hear this Illuvian lies in a temple nearby.
the
That's
layered
why the
nature of
fighting will
worship.
be worst. Andraste, keep you safe.
The layered nature of worship in Andrastian, in the Andrastian chantry, is very cool. It's very Catholic in that regard. There's a richness between the worshiper and the maker. There are layers of honor, of glory in between them. It's not glory to God alone, kind of the Protestant sola. And you especially see this. Hey, Bubble. You especially see this kind of layeredness of worship typified here with Sable, with the Inquisitor, the Herald of Andraste, because you're sort of like 3 layers removed, or 4 if you count the particular worshiper, layers removed from the maker, because you have the individual chanter, the one doing the worship and the honor. Then you have what Catholics would describe properly, I think, as dulia, honor, glory, worship in a sense, but not in the fullest sense. Honor due to a servant of the Maker, someone like the Inquisitor, someone like the Herald of Andraste. Then you have a layer above that of Andraste, which to which Andrastians owe something like what we would term hyperdulia, the maximal honor due to any creature. As the bride of the Maker, as roughly the theological equivalent of Mary, Mother of God, we owe glory and honor to owe glory and honor to Andraste above any other finite being, second only to the Maker himself, who receives latria, which is proper worship, valuing above all other things, with this sharp distinction between Maker and made, creator and creature. So Bublin says religion is stirring the alphabet soup and doing whatever you think it says. That's probably, I think that falls under superstition, primarily just because it is, rather than religion, distinct from religion, because it is, it's a kind of, it would be a kind of, what would be the term? Literomancy, I think? It's a kind of attempted divination. It's explicitly condemned, and has been for a very long time by the church, by the way. And it's because it's trying to seek answers through our own means rather than through the divine. And again, this is another thing that I like about the chantry, is that it's layered in this way as well as its authority structure, because there's no particular importance placed on one's own private interpretations or private revelation or stirring your alphabet soup, as it were. That religion properly construed, whether that's in real life and by the Catholic understanding or Orthodox understanding as well, not to leave them out, it is structured within an established hierarchy as well as an established order, a way of both an epistemological and an authoritative system by which we can reliably know and reliably do worship correctly. And I think that's a real significant difference between religion in the classical sense, which is a kind of tying together, rather than a private worship that we think of in our sort of modern, largely Protestant way of looking at things.
Our Lady guided me to this moment. She would not leave us now.
Then I will be as the other faithful and wait. Good luck.
Like I said, we do see a kind of guidance by the Maker. Now, whether we see that directly and we see precise evidence of that, not like the Maker is showing up, or even Andraste is showing up and granting supernatural abilities to the Inquisition or anything like that. But we do find a nearly miraculous march of victory against what should be against all odds throughout this story. That this is not the right way. We see that Corypheus has every advantage possible. The element of surprise, very powerful ancient magic.
If the soldiers aren't careful with their fires, they'll do Corypheus's work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, let's go plug some assholes.
Do you sense the magic crackling?
Also, massive armies, basically an archdemon, control over red lyrium, which is effectively control of the blight.
So must the faithful renew their love of the Maker. Your penance shall be a joy, serving him with a heart of love unbound. Your struggle shall be a gift, for it redeems you in his sight.
Maker, let me be a worthy servant, that you might take me unto your side.
My thanks, your worship. Andraste must hear you. I was a pilgrim at Haven. I saw the wreckage and how you emerged to lead us. If the Maker bids me serve you, it will be done.
I don't think I've ever noticed or seen that little bit before. That was great. I like that.
Where does it hurt? Maker, I feel the ground shudder.
Yeah, offering one's suffering as a kind of sacrifice is again a very religious way of a very traditionally Christian religious way of looking at things, dealing with hardship and also of commitment. Goblin says 3 games, I think, and we still don't know what that old dragon is. Yeah, you mean Corypheus' dragon, the one that is definitely not just a regular old dragon, but is definitely also not exactly an archdemon, but it is blighted. Yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to find out, honestly. Yeah, I don't actually know if we're ever going to find out, really. It's the kind of thing where... it's the kind of thing where it's dead now. So I kind of don't expect to really find out. I'd like to. Like, I'd really like to find out exactly what the thing is. But I have to assume that it's something to do with Ancient Tevinter. Ancient Tevinter, and I mean the Magisters, so Corypheus and the others, were the source of the blight, and they also worship dragons. So there has to be some kind of a connection there. It's at least seems to me, I think, entirely possible that dragon was an ancient servant of Corypheus, like from the old days, from the ancient Tevinter Empire. That would be my best guess. If we ever get an answer, it could be something like that. It could be something else entirely. I will say one thing that has maybe bugged me a little bit. If the trend started in this game, in this main game, and then continued in the DLCs, especially continued in Trespasser, if this trend continues, then the answer is going to be something about Ancient Elves. Because the answer to almost everything has been Ancient Elves at this point. Like, so many things have been answered by, oh, it was Ancient Elves. It was the Evanuris, the Ancient Elven Gods. Which... I can't be the only one kind of getting tired of the Evanuris and the Ancient Elves as kind of the explanation for everything, can I?
Those were Grey Wardens. They must be the last of those enslaved at Adamant.
Poor bastards. Corypheus has them dying by the dozen.
He also has them here for a reason. We'll find out about. Anyway, though, yeah, it's yeah, we do see oh yeah, it's like Elder Scrolls, we can't learn exactly how old they are. I mean, yeah, I don't even know if it would make sense to say how old the Evanuris are. And how long the Ancient Elven Empire and Arlathan lasted. Primarily just because it was a minor spoiler here, but it was before the Fade existed. And before the Fade existed, I get the impression, at least, that not only did space operate differently, but so did time. And if time operated in a very fundamentally different way before the Fade, when the Fade and the material world were one, I don't know if it even makes sense to ask, how long did Arlathan last? A weird question to me. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe we'll get some more answers to that. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll be... Honestly, I would be I would be satisfied with not getting some answers, not getting too many answers about Arlathan, about the Evaneris. Maybe I'd like some more. There are things that I'd like to see filled in. Particularly their relationship to Vinter. It seems to be implied to me at least, from what my interpretation is that Arlathan fell, which basically, from a geopolitical standpoint, made room for Tevinter, and they just made use of a lot of the ancient elven stuff.
An entire camp of Red Templars.
Look sharp. They've got archers on the wall.
Not for long.
Hell back, warrior!
All right.
These elves are damn fast.
Yeah, as for the Elder Scrolls comparison, I think there's a bit of a difference, but there is, I think, a fair similarity as well. Elder Scrolls gives a lot of answers in its lore. Die already. But a lot of those answers are a little bit strange and perhaps unclear.
It seems this Temple of Methal is not deserted after all.
Perhaps these creatures are the reason few return from the Arbor Wilds.
I do kind of need that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I think a comparison can be made to between Lorcan, if I remember my Elder Scrolls lore. A little bit shady. I never got into it too terribly much, into the deep lore. But it seems like Lorcan is almost like a monotheistic god, but not quite. What with the perhaps mythological or perhaps quite literal dead god dreaming bit, but the world being so utterly dependent in a complete way upon a deity, that's something. That's fairly monotheistic. Yeah, the only Elder Scrolls game, Bublin, the only Elder Scrolls game I've actually finished was Skyrim. I've played some Morrowind, I've played some Oblivion, and I've played some Elder Scrolls Online, but I've never actually finished any of the other ones. I mean, okay, when I say I've finished Skyrim, you know what I mean. I haven't finished Skyrim because that's impossible, but I finished the main story quest and I finished all of the main plots, the main, like, the Dark Brotherhood, the all of the Mage's College, the yada yada yada. Bublin asks if I've played any of the Final Fantasy games. I've been playing the 7 remake, and it'd be really cool to see you play through it. I played 7 a long time ago. I played 10. I didn't play 10-2. I played the remake of the sort of American port of 2. And I think the first Kingdom Hearts. I think that's about it. As far as Final Fantasy goes. I don't know. That might be a good thing to stream. I don't know. Maybe. It'd be sometime along the list though. it would also, at least 7, would kind of tie in with a lot of what I was talking about earlier. With I was talking a lot about eco-terrorism, so that's a little bit relevant. But yeah, it would be it could be an interesting one. It'd be in a while. Like I said, I'm gonna finish KOTOR 1 and 2 on Monday nights. I'm gonna finish. Oh wow. Okay. Oh. Why did I loot that? Get rid of it. Yeah, finished as much as anyone finishes Skyrim, which is limited. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 on Monday nights. And I might do some more Star Wars games after that. I've thought about... I don't know if my internet can handle it. But I've thought about doing one or more of the class quests for Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO. Because it's kind of... it's more or less a continuation of the KOTOR storyline. It's as close as we're probably ever going to get to KOTOR 3. And I'm fairly satisfied with it from that standpoint. It's a good game. It's a bunch of good games, really. Because it's really a bunch of single-player games mashed up together into an MMO with a bit of a player economy. That's really all. And a little bit of rating. In any case, I might do that at some point. Perhaps. You or somebody has suggested, I forget if it was you who suggested this, might have been. Somebody suggested, though, that I play Battlefront 2. Or the new Battlefront 2, the campaign. And I like that idea as well. So maybe I'll do that. In any case, it would be Star Wars games on Mondays. After this one, which, let's be honest, will still be a while. This is already my longest series. No, it's not quite. My longest single game series so far has still been Red Dead Redemption 2. And that got to 31 episodes. This, tonight, as you can see, is 30. And so what that means is that next week, this will be tied for the longest single game series. And I'm not going to finish next week, so this will be the longest single game series that we've done so far on this channel. Which is fine. Again, I might start rushing a little bit in some of the side questy stuff. I could kill with the multiplayer too. Oh, of Battlefront? Maybe. The problem is if I'm also streaming as well, I have a fair chance of lagging, and you know how that can go. Between an actual detriment to gameplay and also just immense frustration and yelling at the camera. Who knows? Maybe. I'm probably going to avoid multiplayer to some degree on here, unless I know that I've got a pretty stable connection and such. We'll see. There isn't. The point is there isn't much to discuss in the multiplayer for Battlefront. It's really just a pretty straightforward, decent, but pretty straightforward big team battle type format thing. Anyway, like I said, I'll think about that one. I'm definitely gonna think about that one. I'm also vaguely thinking about Fallen Order, because Fallen Order was very good, and I think it was on Mondays, on one of my Monday streams, I talked about some of the problems I've had with the game, from a narrative standpoint, really, mostly. I love the gameplay. I love the gameplay, I love the characters. Pretty much all the characters are really well done.
I'd count on it. Be ready.
I hear
but there's a
fighting
couple
ahead.
of thematic issues I have with the actual story, and that would be a good time to talk about it. So maybe I'll do that one too. On the list of possibilities, at least. I still, like, despite everything, good lord, despite everything, I still love Star Wars. I can't bring myself to not like Star Wars. Even if I haven't liked anything that has come out from Star Wars since Fallen Order. So,
They still think to fight us, Master.
These are but remnants. They will not keep us from the Well of Sorrows.
Well of
oh,
Sorrows.
I love that voice. Forgot how epic his voice is.
Be honored. Witness death at the hands of a new god.
Hey, Kirby Lover. Welcome. Thanks for the sub. Well, Corypheus is dead for now. Oh, I haven't been reading the Darth Vader comics. Maybe I should. From what little I've seen, they do look spectacular. That's at least something.
It cannot be.
Across the bridge, now!
Apparently it can. Ooh. So, Bublin said, I think that's a really good point. So, Bublin said the repeated multiplayer battles really sell the manufactured futility of the Clone Wars. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really solid point. It's something I hadn't really thought of, but it really does, doesn't it? Especially just with the number of troops that
Methal
die.
Sanctum. Let us proceed before Corypheus interferes.
Why is Lumpy after a sorrow well or whatever? Weren't we after some Ponzi mirror?
I am uncertain of what he referred to.
You can just hear it in her voice that she cannot stand anything that Sarah just said. That's the only redeeming factor to Sarah, is how much she gets on people's nerves. Including mine, by the way, but Cockney is a horrifying abomination. That's why Tolkien's orcs exclusively speak Cockney. And that's why in my D&D universes, a lot of languages I just have as like Cockney versions of other languages. Like Gnomish is just Dwarvish that rhymes, and like Orcish is Elvish Cockney, or Infernal is Abyssal is Cockney Celestial, that kind of thing. Anyway, Fallen Order, Bublin says, is really fun too. There's a lot of cinematics, you can't skip cutscenes. Pet peeve of mine. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'll still think about it. I'm definitely going to be next on the list as well, at least after this game, for Thursdays, is going to be Kingdom Come Deliverance. I can't wait to play that. That should be a lot of fun. Kirby Lover said, Dragon Age universe is so bleak to me. It seems like not a single inhabitant of it doesn't live under the boot of oppression. And Erica, Mrs. McCoy, says, that's why I hate this universe. You're a mage and will either turn into a monster locked up for your entire life, Templar and be addicted to delirium and die early, normal peasant and going to die anytime any sort of conflict happens. Kirby Lover says, yeah, like with any fictional universe, I think part of the appeal is imagining yourself within it. But Dragon Age, I'm just like, damn, I pretty much wouldn't want to be here at all. Or Erica adds, Warden, you'll eventually go mad and run underground to die. Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't... I wouldn't even want to be a noble because there's a very good chance of like assassination or getting involved with eldritch abominations or such like. Yeah, this is one of those grimdark. This is a very dark fantasy. I like a lot of elements of the world building because there's a lot of peoples and groups and ideologies that I really like and can respect. And there's also some groups and ideologies that I detest and despise and can enjoy despising. The Kunari, the Evanuris, who else do I hate in this universe? I mean, that's kind of those are the big ones. Oh, the Tevinters, obviously. Okay, the Tevinters, fine. Hate and despise them for very good reasons. But that's actually that makes it really interesting. Even if you're right, I would not want to live in this universe in any capacity, and that I think that is a large part of fantasy. So it's one of the things that you're right, I don't like as much about this universe because I think fantasy should in large part be escapist. Tolkien talked about this a lot. That the idea of fantasy is to escape the dreary confines of reality to something higher, to something more mystical. And this doesn't do that. So, yeah, I think that's a solid point. Erica says, I like Fallout, but that's because everyone already hit low, and there's hope of society rebuilding. Yeah, I don't know. I can never get into it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the bleakness of it or if it's just something about the aesthetic. I can't really get into it. Ruby Lover says, yeah, Fallout definitely has a tone of optimism for things being possible despite the situation being objectively bad. Yeah, and I like that about it. I do. I don't know. There are some post-apocalypse stories I just can't get into so much. Fallout being one of them, really. I don't know why. Really don't. Bublin says, I really like the fan theory of Fallout and Elder Scrolls taking place in the same universe. Elder Scrolls set millennia after Fallout, with the nuclear war being what eventually sparked magic. I mean, the bombs are Daedra. Maybe. Ghouls, I take it, are the Dwemer, perhaps? I mean, Dwemer, excuse me, Dwemer constructs do bear a certain similarity to a lot of like Fallout bots and stuff. So, all right, I get it. I can see it. I wouldn't put it past Todd Howard for like 1 second to try and lump together his two big franchises. So, I don't know. Well, like Ball invented nuclear weapons? Well, yeah, probably. That makes sense. That suddenly makes a lot of sense. What's the tentacle guy? The Abyss, the knowledge one. He could too. That's not Molly Ball. Is it? No. Molly Ball is Prince of Destruction. What's the one that's the Abyss of Tentacles? That one. I could see inventing nukes. Hermes Mora, yeah. That's it. Alright, anyway. So Corypheus does the archdemon trick and jumps into, but instead of Darkspawn, jumps into Grey Wardens, which shouldn't be possible by the rules established by Alicia Mudcrabs and Sweet Rolls. Yeah, true. That shouldn't be possible by the rules established by Origins, by the Archdemons, and by the Grey Wardens in general. But who knows? He's weird. The same 3 voice actors. Oh. Ruby Lover says Hermaeus Mora is my favorite Daedric prince. He's got that succulent knowledge. Disturbingly, succulent is a great description for a lot of the Daedric princes. Really weird, but I think that's a fair description of a lot of them.
You're not certain? You said you knew what he was looking for.
Confidence can carry one only so far, it seems.
Oh god, this is good.
I suspected. I did not know. Yes, I was wrong. Does that please you? Whatever the Well of Sorrows might be, Corypheus seeks
I love
it,
hearing her
and
say
thus
that.
you must keep it from his grasp.
Let's find this well before Corypheus's people do. I want to know how Corypheus returned to life. We saw him die.
And his life force passes on to any blighted creature, darkspawn, or Grey Warden.
So, how many times do we need to kill him? It's a small number, right?
Strike Corypheus down, and he will rise anew.
For once, I'm relieved I'm not really a warden.
We'll find a way to stop him once we're done here.
'Tis strange. Archdemons possess the same ability, and still the Grey Wardens are able to slay them. Yet Corypheus they locked away. Perhaps they knew he could do this, but not how.
Mm-hmm. This puzzle.
The temple's magics are still strong.
Ooh, magics with a K. That must be serious.
Is this Elven? Does it say anything about this Well of Sorrows?
Atishol vir Abalasan. It means enter the path of the Well of Sorrows.
There is something about knowledge.
Yes.
Respectful or pure. Shiven. Shivenen. 'Tis all I can translate. That it mentions the well is a good omen.
Did you just completely ignore Solus just translating it for you? It's kind of rude. By the way, I stole one of these puzzles for my D&D game. It worked out quite well. It worked out so much better the second time I used it in a different campaign. So much better. In my current Saturday game. Worked out very well there. It took some doing to figure out, but once everyone figured out the mechanics of it, it worked out well. The previous time we did it, whoo, that was a slog. That was tough.
We're out of luck unless one of those temple elves drops a lexicon.
Solus is right behind you.
Methal would have first paid obeisance here. Following their path may aid entry.
Okay. So yeah,
No, this is bad. Rituals are bad. You can't want this.
If need be, unless you wish to turn back.
Yay, we did it.
Let us see what awaits.
Cool.
Yes.
So yeah, I love these puzzles. They're great. But I also kind of agree with Sarah. I like Sarah's mentality about this. Like, nope, creepy ritual. Don't like it. Don't want to do it. She reminds me in that respect of one of my D&D and as well as a lot of other RPG characters, Draven, who I use in a lot of settings. One of his like core personality traits that arises from an old weird happenstance from a Star Wars LARP where I played him. He doesn't trust ancient artifacts and ancient power relics, spooky shit like this. He doesn't trust it, not at all. And so he does the smart thing when he encounters an ancient relic of magical power. Throws it into a black hole. At least in one case. That kind of stuff. He takes Tolkien's lesson about the ring quite seriously. Ooh, spooky object. It could be of immense power. It could grant us many things. No, get rid of it. Blow it up. Burn it. Destroy. Bubbin says, I remember that this came out around the time The Witcher 3 did. It shows how different games, worlds, and writing can be while still ostensibly in the same genre. Yeah, very much so. And even the puzzles, even the way the puzzles work. There's tons of puzzles in The Witcher. Witcher 3, I mean, in particular, which I haven't played the first two. I've only played 3. I still haven't finished Blood and Wine. I never got around to finishing it. I probably will eventually, the DLC. But the puzzles are so much more, mostly more investigative and dialogue based than anything in Dragon Age. For the most part. Some of the puzzles are item based as well, far more so than Dragon Age. It's neat. It is really cool, like you said, to observe the stark difference in gameplay while looking at it basically being the same genre.
Are you certain Corypheus is using the power of the Blight to make himself immortal?
Perhaps you forget.
It looked like it.
I was in Ferelden during the Fifth Blight. I have seen a true archdemon rage.
You were literally there to
How
kill it.
Corypheus
Saw it die.
gained the power to send his soul into blighted bodies. That is the real question.
I mean, the soul of an archdemon literally passed into, or at least through your body into the child you were carrying, Morrigan, if I might remind you. So, yeah.
Will answering that question let us destroy Corypheus for good?
Perhaps. I would suggest first dealing with the well. If Corypheus obtains it, any chance of success could be lost.
Is it?
You said this Methal was worshipped as a goddess.
So one assumes. What is a god but a being of immense power? The dread old gods were nothing more than dragons, after all. They rise as archdemons, and they die. Perhaps Methal was a powerful elf, a ruler among her kind. History often plays storyteller with facts.
You admit lack of knowledge, and yet dismiss her so readily?
I do not dismiss her. I question her supposed divinity. One need not be a god to have value. Truthfully, I'm uncertain Methal was even a single entity. The accounts are varied.
Right you are, Morgan! But also wrong you are, and we'll find out more about Methal as we go through this, and as we go through the, as well as the next couple of quests, and a little bit more even in the, which DLC is it? Trespasser DLC. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is, and this is something I've talked about before, even in this game, is there is a categorical difference between a god and God, or in this game's terms, a god and the Maker. The Tevinter and the Elven gods are, like Morrigan points out, finite beings of immense power that people venerate and respect, and in some cases even wrongly worship. But then there is a categorical difference between the gods, whether those are Elven or whether those are Tevinter, excuse me, or even the stone, as the dwarves understand it, a Titan stone, whatever it is. There's a categorical difference between that and the Maker. The Maker being the source and the fundamental source of being itself, and therefore different from and distinct from being, whether that's physical being or even the Fade. Separate from both, behind and beyond both. And that's a very important categorical difference, and it's one that, well, quite frankly, atheists like Morrigan fail to understand. Typically, you find the same kind of misunderstanding in particularly among the sort of early 21st century new atheists, who made the same mistake of saying, well, I don't believe in any gods. Just like Sam Harris says this a lot, I recall. I disbelieve in thousands of gods, and I just disbelieve in one more than you do. I mean, because we don't, Christians don't believe in Zeus or Apollo or Thor or Odin or whatever. Quetzalcoatl. Yeah, he doesn't either, but he also doesn't believe in Yahweh. Well, they're different things, right? They're fundamentally different things. If you're going to refer to God or Yahweh or Allah, referring roughly to the same thing, probably to the same thing at least, that's a very different thing than you would be referring to, Apollo or Thor. Now, you might be able to refer to God by the name Zeus. The Stoics certainly did. Socrates certainly did, at least sometimes. But typically, that's not the case. Typically, if you refer to Zeus, you're talking about a particular finite being with a particular physical residency and a particular portfolio of powers, and those powers being limited. It's monumentally, categorically different from that than which no greater can be conceived, the source of all being, etc. But as for Methal, there is an interesting interplay between I would say myth and reality. That's not even quite right. There's an interplay between the original Methal and the collection of myths that accumulate to the legend of Methal. And I'll leave it at that for now, because we're going to find out more about this.
There are varied accounts of Methal.
In most stories, Methal rights wrongs while exercising motherly kindness. Let fly your voice to Methal, deliverer of justice, protector of sun and earth alike. Other paint her as dark, vengeful. Pray to Methal and she would smite your enemies, leaving them in agony.
More Dalish tales, I assume.
If you know more about this, Solus, speak.
The oldest accounts say Methal was both of these, and neither. She was the mother, protective and fierce. That is all I will say. This is not a place to stir up old stories.
Whatever the truth, all accounts of Methal end the same. Exiled to the beyond with her brethren.
Not a place to stir up old stories. An odd thing here. Very odd. I'm actually not sure, genuinely not sure what he means by that.
What do you mean, exiled?
Tricked by the dread wolf, as all the elven gods were said to be, trapped in a land beyond the Fade. Many Dalish believe this is why the elves fell from grace, and their gods did not save them. Or perhaps they were simply rulers slain by Tevinter. Who can say?
Do you know what this part of the temple was used for?
The room we stand in is a vestibule, not the temple proper. To those who knew it, perhaps this ritual was little more than a polite knock at the gate. These customs must have been as familiar to ancient elves as bowing to a queen is to you or I.
I find it difficult to picture you curtsying to anyone.
Have we become so familiar you can predict my manners and customs now? Nothing is lost by indulging in the occasional civilized conduct, particularly when unexpected.
Yeah, that is I mean, Jonathan Pageau talks about this quite a bit, that ritual, even what we would sometimes call religious ritual, is so ingrained in our interaction with society and in our understanding of ourselves that that we don't even think about it. That disrupting any kind of ritual behavior is a kind of destruction of our world. It's a kind of mini apocalypse. Anything from close talking is a great example of the disruption of ritual. We have a ritual interaction between us and other people, and it is a particular distance, right? Distance for conversation. If you are far too far, everything will be off. Things won't be right. If you're holding a conversation with somebody from, 30 feet away, and you're just holding a conversation, it's going to be strange to you, to them, and to everyone around. If you are talking face to face with someone, like, way too close, there's a reason this is a kind of a taboo. It's a disruption of the ordinary way of dealing with things. Or leaving someone hanging if they offer a high five. You just don't do it. There is an expected ritual to our interactions with each other, even in our fairly disconnected society. There are still all sorts of rituals. One of Pageau's examples is fantastic. If you decided to just poop on the dinner table, you could. I mean, there are certainly things maybe that would stop you, whether that's the law or whatever, but that's not what's actually stopping you. What's actually stopping you is that is an ultimate disruption and ultimately destruction of your social world, the world around you, the world that you inhabit and participate in. You would no longer be participating in social interactions with other people. You would have, everything will have collapsed when you do that. Your world will fall apart. You don't participate in ordinary rituals in the ordinary way. So, walking the path like this is like not pooping on the dinner table, like shaking hands. It's like holding a conversation. It's like knocking on the door. Like knocking on the door even is a particular ritual that we have. There would be other ways of announcing your presence at someone's home to be let in. It could be as simple as, it could be a doorbell, it could be as simple as shouting. But we don't do that. If somebody walks up to your door and just starts yelling, you will not let them in. You will immediately and probably correctly assume that there's something grievously wrong with them if they are not knocking and are instead just shouting. There's something horribly wrong with that situation, and you recognize it instantly, easily, because it's a disruption of ritual. So just like this, if for example, there were a ritual to walk, counterclockwise, like we did, through this sort of ritual tile pattern, if someone to do the opposite, if that were part of the ritual, someone to do the opposite would be horrifyingly disruptive, and no, you would not let somebody in. And so the magic would presumably, in this case, wouldn't let you in. But the magic here it's the same magic as knock knock, who's there? It's expected. Follow the process, and the path will open before you. That's all it means. This is a fantastic symbolic representation of the way we interact with the world.
You've seen the elves here. They seem odd.
Indeed. Two things are possible. One, this is a group of Dalish separated from their brethren, cultists, fanatic in their desire to keep humans away. Two, these are elves descended from the ancients, having resided here since before the fall of Arlathan. The second appears unlikely, but if true, the implications are astounding.
If they keep records, it could change everything we thought we knew about history.
'Tis thrilling, no? To discover an era thought lost forever has possibly thrived in the shadows. We may, however, find these elves reluctant to part with their long-kept secrets.
Well, understandably, I suppose. They are, long-kept secrets.
I see the Red Templars have already encountered the Temple's guardians.
Those elves lay an impressive ambush. Where are they?
Preparing another display of hospitality, no doubt.
Hungry elves. Apparently with Velasleen, it looks like at least. Hunting? Carrying back prey? Not sure. The Dread Wolf. Harel. The Dalish use Harelan, I mean traitor to one's kin, but the word does not appear in any Elven text before the Tower's Age. The ancient root word is related to Harelan, or opposition, and Helathen, or noble struggle. The English call Fenharel a god of deception, but I posit a far more accurate translation would be god of rebellion. What he rebelled against is a story lost to time. In Dalish legends, Fenharel seals away the other deities out of love trickery. If we understand more ancient Elven, we might find earlier versions of the Dread Wolf's story to give him a more nuanced motivation from spite. A treaty on the pagan... Wouldn't that be a treatise, I would think, on the pagan and heretical customs of the Elven? Okay.
Why would this be here?
Something wrong?
It depicts the Dread Wolf, Fenharel. In Elven tales, he tricks their gods into sealing themselves away in the beyond for all time. Setting Fenharel in Methal's greatest sanctum is as blasphemous as painting Andraste naked in the chantry.
Some chantries display statues of Andraste's betrayer Mathrath as part of the chant.
It might fulfill a similar function, a reminder of vigilance for the faithful.
For all your knowledge, Lady Morrigan, you cannot resist giving legend the weight of history. The wise do not mistake one for the other.
Pray tell, what meaning does our Elven expert sense lurking behind this?
None we can discern by staring at it.
Oh god, yes, I'm absolutely instigating.
You two look like you're about to kiss when you argue.
'Tis time we pressed forward.
Agreed.
Anyway, well, that was delightful. Anyway, yes, I think that, I mean, look, the throne that we sit on, the chantry throne that we sit on at Skyhold, is a statue of Andraste being burned alive. So, yeah, maybe it's not particularly blasphemous to depict
The Temple of Methal,
an enemy or something like that.
constructed in an age when elves, not men, dominated this land. They believed Methal a goddess of justice. Elves came here to request judgment after they proved their worth.
Silence has reigned here for time beyond memory.
Not anymore, apparently. But yeah, that's, I mean, look. We Christians depict God murdered on a cross. The most brutal instrument of torture we human beings have probably ever come up with. Yeah, there is a reason to depict add things, let's just broadly say. Whether that's a narrative or whether that is
Hold them off!
honor or memory of what happened, and the other side of it as well. Or if Fenharel, in this case, had a part to play, an important part to play in the history of Methal, etc. Methal and the other elven gods and whatnot.
Come on, we might catch them.
What? But treasure?
Hold a moment. While they rush ahead, this leads to our true destination. We should walk the petitioner's path as before.
You've an army dying out there, Inquisitor. We're wasting time fiddling with this magic. If jumping down will get us out faster, we should do it.
In this case, I must agree with the witch. This is ancient ground, deserving of our respect.
You see the urgency? We cannot find the Well of Sorrows unprepared.
So if we find... Okay, so... Sable has very little, if any, respect for pagan tradition here. She's a chantry girl. However, Morgan has a point, perhaps, that finding the Well of Sorrows without going through the ritual process will leave us in a bad position, similarly as with Corypheus' men.
We don't know what's behind those doors. They might have a reason for going another way.
Had they the option, they would have proceeded. That must lead to their goal.
Their goal? Or yours?
Ooh. Well, yes.
There is a danger to the natural order. Legends walked Thedas once, things of might and wonder. Their passing has left us all the lesser. Corypheus would squander the ancient power of the well. I would have it restored.
You barely know what the Well of Sorrows is, but you want to restore it.
Yes. Is Thedas so full of wonders that we should leave them to die one by one? Mankind blunders through the world, crushing what it does not understand. Elves, dragons, magic. The list is endless. We must stem the tide, or be left with nothing more than the mundane. This I know to be true. I read more in the first chamber than I revealed. It said a great boon is given to those who use the Well of Sorrows, but at a terrible price.
What exactly did that altar say about the Well of Sorrows?
Like most elven writing, it was insufferably vague. The term I deciphered was Halam Shivanas, the sweet sacrifice of duty. It implies the loss of something personal for duty's sake, yet for those who served at this temple, a worthwhile trade.
So, loss of something for duty's sake. Sounds like, again, it sounds like a sacrifice of something roughly like pious commitment. In which case, fine. I'm not going to be doing it, but you're welcome to, crazy person.
What sort of curse should we brace ourselves for if we use the well?
'Twould be easier by far to advise you of a curse. This price is not so well defined. My priority is your cause, but if the opportunity arises to save this well, I am willing to pay the cost.
And gain what?
That is what we must discover. The rituals may point the way.
Dublin is wondering how far off Dragon Age 4 is. I would, if I had to just sort of randomly guess, I would suppose 2024. Not soon. But, Andril.
What's this?
I believe we are in the presence of the elven goddess Ondrul, Lady of the Hunt.
Or a goddess of sacrifice, according to some.
Truly? I wonder if that is why Ondrul's patron animal is the hare. 'Tis said the Dalish invoke her before a chase, especially if they happen to be stalking humans.
The Dalish aren't known for being so bloodthirsty, are they?
'Tis only what I overheard in the Empress's court. Many Orlesian commanders consider skirmishes against the Dalish excellent sport.
This is another... not a different god or goddess. I don't want to accidentally go the right way. Or accidentally fall down the hole. Hold on. It's not telling me. Oh, these are the ritual rooms. I see. I see. Okay, I get it. I get it now, I think. Anyway, Evelyn says Dragon Age 4 the same year as the KOTOR remake would be interesting. It would. I know it's different teams, but it would be kind of strange to have BioWare release such big titles so close together.
Yes.
Oh, no, sorry.
Let's continue.
As you wish.
The last time there were games so close together was Inquisition and what was it called? The Mass Effect Andromeda. They were what, a year and a half apart, give or take, something like that. Alan Din.
Who is this meant to be?
Fallon Dean, overseer of funerals and guide to the elven dead. I have heard the Dalish invoke him on their deathbed, or before quests from which they expect no return.
People cling to whatever gives them hope when their time comes.
Perhaps that's why the Dalish sometimes refer to Fallon Dean as the Merciful One.
I do not believe they sing songs about Fallon Din's vanity.
Go ahead. You must have a legend for us.
It is said Fallon Din's appetite for adulation was so great, he began wars to amass more worshippers. The blood of those who wouldn't bow low filled lakes as wide as oceans. Methal rallied the gods once the shadow of Fallon Din's hunger stretched across her own people. It was almost too late. Fallon Din only surrendered when his brethren bloodied him in his own temple.
No story is dramatic if the people in it act sensibly.
Yes. Most tales paint Fallon Din's stubbornness second only to his self-regard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The release schedule. I don't know if I would expect the release schedule of. Oops. Crap. I'm gonna start over. I don't know if I would expect. Anyway, I don't know if I would expect the. That was weird. How did I do that? Goofed it. There we go. I don't know if I would expect the release schedule to be that close together. Okay, go. Yeah, so you do have a point. It might be later. I doubt if it will be able to be earlier. Yeah, we're good. I can't backtread. Oh, I goofed it, didn't I? Crap. Okay. Starting overtime. Oh. Okay. Maybe I'd do this the dumb way. Yeah, this will work, I think. Yay!
Indeed. Time to proceed to
That was 100% not the way I was supposed to do that, but it worked. Oh, man. Alright, whatever, it's fine. Should I just drop down, or... Nah, I'll go around the reasonable way. Anyway. So yeah, it's, yeah, you might be right. They might delay it an extra year, give themselves the extra time. I kind of hope so. I'd rather, especially like looking at the last few, or maybe not the last few, but looking at some recent BioWare titles, and like the horrible incompleteness of Mass Effect Andromeda upon release. I'd rather they take the time they need, really. Okay. How do I do this one? Yay.
The
Cool.
ritual is complete.
Did that one.
We are close. There is but one more path to follow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd rather them, like I said, I'd rather them take their time and do it right than for the game to come out too soon. We've seen what happens when they've had a rushed development schedule. Again, that was through a lot of mismanagement, but it was still a rushed development schedule with Andromeda. And it was a disaster, unfortunately, because it was a really good game and it deserved much better than it got. Ooh, Janae. We're not going to talk about this one? Okay. Oh, okay. No, this is the one that I copied for the. This is the one I copied for D&D. All right. So if I do this here. Okay, section by section, we got this. Okay, that half's done. But yeah, I think that, like I said, or like I was about to say, I think that Andromeda deserved a lot better than it got. There was a lot of potential there that I think was unfortunately pretty squandered by like I said, mostly the rush development schedule that left it basically incomplete. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, I think I got it.
There. Everything is lit.
So can we go? Now?
Come. Let us see if the doors have opened.
Okay, cool. So anyway, yeah, it was, like... The game was very clearly incomplete. Like, just looking at the facial animations, looking at a lot of the systems that were developed and all that. A lot of it got patched and fixed and all that. But also things like the fact that there were two new alien species, and a protagonist species and an antagonist species, or an ally and an enemy species. And that was it. There were no other like Andromeda races.
Abandon these rituals, Inquisitor? Think carefully. There is no return once we leap after the Templars.
No, I wasn't going to do it. I was going to go. But yeah, like I said, it was very unfortunate, and especially that the game left off on something like a cliffhanger, with the Ket Senate basically about to come to the whatever the cluster was called, and then also
it is not what I expected.
The at least 2 DLCs that were just dangled there as plot hooks, and it left the story incomplete. The Quarian arc, and the Benefactor and the Ryder family stuff.
We're being watched.
No. We're being watched.
Vernavis.
Oh my god.
You are unlike the other invaders. You stumble down our paths at the side of one of our own. You bear the mark of magic, which is...
2 of our?
Familiar. How has this come to pass? What is your connection to those who first disturbed our slumber?
I don't understand the slumber bit. Who are you?
I am called Abelas. We are sentinels, tasked with standing against those who trespass on sacred ground. We wake only to fight, to preserve this place. Our numbers diminish with each invasion. I know what you seek. Like all who have come before you, you wish to drink from the Vira Belasan.
The place of the Way of Sorrows. He speaks of the well.
It is not for you. It is not for any of you.
Solus, perhaps he'll listen to you.
What shall I say, Inquisitor? Shall I sway him from a millennia of service by virtue of our shared blood? He clings to all that remains of his world, because he lacks the power to restore it.
Well, that didn't help at all. Thanks.
So, you're elves from ancient times, before the Tevinter Imperium destroyed Arlathan.
The Shemlin did not destroy Arlathan. We Elven warred upon ourselves. By the time the doors to this sanctuary closed, our time was over. We awaken only when called, and each time find the world more foreign than before. It is meaningless. We endure. The Virabella-san must be preserved.
What is this Virabella-san exactly?
It is a path. One walked only by those who toiled in Methal's favor.
He speaks of priests, perhaps.
More than that, you need not know.
We came to stop Corypheus. He's here to take your well, not I.
I believe you. Trespassers you are, but you have followed rites of petition. You have shown respect to Methal. If these others are enemies of yours, we will aid you in destroying them. When this is done, you shall be permitted to depart. And never return.
This is our goal, is it not? There is no reason to fight these sentinels.
Consider carefully. You must stop Corypheus, yes, but you may also need the well for your own.
Yeah, good deal. No, let's not take the highly dangerous ancient magic that comes with a warning on the package saying, "Warning, cursed!" No. We'll work together with the ancient elves. Yes.
I accept your offer.
You will be guided to those you seek.
Wait, why does Sarah...
As for the Virabella-san, it shall not be despoiled, even if I must destroy it myself.
I kind of get why Sarah doesn't... Oh, crap. I kind of get why Sarah doesn't like working with ancient elves, but I don't get why she's mad that we're not looking to draw power from an ancient cursed well called the Well of Sorrows, which just sounds really evil.
Mytholanast.
That's helpful,
wait.
since Morrigan chased off on her own.
She seeks to protect the Well of Sorrows.
Anything else here to see? No. You let a bit of Grobbin slip out there. Yes! Well, yes. Naturally. We're dealing with ancient spookiness. I think that Sable learned quite well about ancient spookiness and not to trust it. Right? Am I wrong about that? I like that staff. It's very nice, very simple. Still like it very much. Should we go take care of that, or you got it?
Looks untouched.
I've seen Orlesian palaces with less gold. What did the ancient elves do here?
Judgment of Methal. So yeah.
Perhaps it was meant to kindle a sense of awe in visitors.
Well, it's working.
Let me see if that is actually better for Sarah. Yes. Oh my god, that's really good. Weapon fires 3 shots when attacking? Oh my god. No, that's fantastic. It looks horrible. Big old composite bow, but I guess that's kind of her thing, I guess. I don't know. I guess. It's really good, though, so I guess so. I could only ever really bring myself to drink from the Well of Sorrows myself the one time I was playing a Dalish elf. Ilganon. King of the Avenurus, I think? If I recall. I'm gonna grab some Veilfire. I mean, we're gonna need it. Doodly-doo.
Penshra, Gilas Velathan.
Dear Tharman, Fallen Din. Wins.
I believe she would prefer that we remain close.
I'm looking around. Oh, well, okay, Sable said it for me. Ilanon. There's bashing and banging happening next door. I don't know why we have the Veilfire exactly. Oh! Hello! More statues of Fen'Harel. Oh, these are gold statues, aren't they? Nice. I included Fen'Harel in my bonk screen. Anyway. I'm going to go ahead and not open doors. Delays. I'm going to go ahead and not open doors that I'm not being led through, because I'm being led through. But I'm going to assume that the guide is going the right way. It's doing that. She's doing that stupid NPC thing though, where she's faster than my walk speed and slower than my run speed.
The Sentinels are holding off the Red Templars.
Good for something, I guess, if they keep it up.
Abalas gave us his word.
Well, good for Dusty Butt.
Dusty Butt. Why is there a Carta hat? It's dwarven. Not just dwarven, but dwarven criminals. In a chest here. In the back rooms of an ancient elven temple from before the fall of Arlathan. That's weird. There would have been a lot of fighting to get through here. I can tell. Not gonna open that. Let them take care of it. Oh, here we go. Through. No. No. Wait, where'd he go? Where'd she go? Sorry. Where's she? Yes, hello? Are we going? Where are we going? Is this not where we're going? Go on. What do we go through here? She... Were we supposed to go through here? Definitely did not lead us through here. But that's definitely the way we're supposed to go, so I guess so? Alright.
The Well of Sorrows.
Maker's balls.
So Methal endures.
Maker's balls? Really? Okay. That's quite the expression.
Won't stop us. How will you get to the well, General? Tell me.
You'll get wrecked, that's how.
You tough bastards. A day's march, hours of fighting, and still fierce as dragons. The Chantry never knew what it was throwing away.
Samson, sir, watch out!
Inquisitor. You and those elf things don't know when to stop. You've hunted us half across Thedas. I should have guessed you'd follow us into this hole.
Your reserves are gone. So is Delirium. Isn't it time to stand down?
To enjoy the mercy you showed our brothers and sisters. No thanks. Corypheus chose me twice. First as his general, now as the vessel for the Well of Sorrows. You know what's inside the well?
Really?
Wisdom. The kind of wisdom that can scour a world.
You?
I give it to Corypheus, that he can walk into the Fade without your precious anchor.
What's your part in it? What's a vessel?
What else empties a well? I'll carry its power to Corypheus. One more task entrusted to me. Being force-fed Chantry lyrium was good for something. This armor makes me a living fortress, mind and body. I won't forget a word of the well's knowledge. Corypheus will be unstoppable.
I kinda like the little touch of him having the Kirkwall crest on his back still.
Once
I like
Corypheus
that.
is that powerful, you and your soldiers will just slow him down.
You dare say that to my face? After you butchered my men? You're no match for
Look at that
Corypheus.
guy. Like,
Even if you drink from the well, you'll never master its wisdom as he could. This is the strength the Chantry tried to bind. But it's a new world now, with a new god. So, Inquisitor, how will this go?
but really though, like look at the dude next to him. Like, they're monstrosities. It's not like his men are being treated well by Corypheus. They're being warped and twisted into horrifying abominations. Also, zap.
Power's all well and good, until it's taken away.
What did you do? What did you do?
Thanks, Dagna.
My armor. It's gone. The lyrium. I need it. Kill them all. Take them. I'll show you, bastards.
Oh, he's getting big. Oh, he has the sword. That's the Red Lyrium sword. That's from his former boss. What's her name?
You think you'll win?
He's getting very big. From what is her name? Boss of the last game. I forgot that he had that.
Those were my men.
Hey, he's getting bigger. Yeah, we got him.
Well, Wretch, you can't take it from Corypheus. You mustn't.
Still breathing after all that. Impressive.
Why is he so committed? I mean, I guess it's
We
the
can take him
cult
back
leader
to
thing.
Skyhold for judgment.
I mean, he's the only one who, Corypheus, that is the only one who actually gave him any measure of trust. Or respect, or power, or anything.
You heard his parting words, Inquisitor. The elf seeks to destroy the Well of Sorrows.
Fine.
So the sanctum is despoiled at last.
You would have destroyed the well yourself, given the chance.
To keep it from your grasping fingers. Better it be lost than bestowed upon the undeserving.
Fair.
You'd let your people's legacy rot in the shadows.
Corypheus needed Samson to use the well. Without him, there's no vessel to claim it.
The moment we leave, he will send more forces to secure this place. The well clearly offers power, Inquisitor. If that power can be turned against Corypheus, can you afford not to use it?
Yes.
Do you even know what you ask? As each servant of Methal reached the end of their years, they would pass their knowledge on through this. All that we were, all that we knew, it would be lost forever.
So, yeah, it's something like ancestral memory, but I assume it's also something a bit more than that. But to Morrigan's point, this provides us the dilemma of the ring, right? This is very classic. This is a very classical dilemma. Do you accept great power, knowing that it can be immensely corrupting and it comes with its own particular curses, and knowing that it is a sacrifice to the people who guard it? Excuse me. And knowing that it is inappropriate for the situation, and all of these negative aspects to it, we would rightly say no, we should not. But unfortunately, that's not an option because the plot has to happen. I wish there were an option to just say no. No, we will allow you to, or even help you defend the well, but we will not take its power for our own. But I don't think that's an option.
It's better that knowledge remain in the well, never passed on. You'd rather destroy it.
There are other places, friend, other duties. Your people yet linger.
Elven such as you?
Yes, such as I.
You have shown respect to Methal, and there is a righteousness in you.
Takes the Dalish as his own people there.
Is that your desire? To partake of the Vira Belasan as best you can, to fight your enemy?
Gifts like this don't come freely.
No boon of Methal was ever granted without cost. The Vira Belasan may be too much for a mortal to comprehend. Brave it if you must. But know you this. You shall be bound forever to the will of Methal.
Bound to a goddess who no longer exists, if she ever did?
Bound as we are bound. The choice is yours.
Is it possible this Methal might still exist?
Anything is possible.
Elven legend states that Methal was tricked by Fen-Harel and banished to the Beyond.
Elven legend is wrong. The Dread Wolf had nothing to do with her murder.
Murder? I said nothing of...
She was slain, if a god truly can be. Betrayed by those who destroyed this temple. Yet the Vira Belasan remains. As do we. That is something.
So, the Dreadwolf tricked all of the Elven gods except for Methal, who was instead murdered. Interesting. Again, something that we'll wind up learning more about, I'm sure, if I recall.
Are you leaving the temple?
Our duty ends. Why remain?
There is a place for you, Lethaline, if you seek it.
Perhaps there are places the Shamlin have not touched. It may be that only
Not a lot.
Fenrir awaits us.
Not a lot.
The blissful sleep of eternity, never to awaken, if fate is kind.
You could come with us. Fight Corypheus. He killed your people.
We killed ourselves. Long ago.
Malas Amalin Nahalam Abalas. His name, Abalas means sorrow. I said,
Gathered as much.
I hoped he finds a new name.
You'll note the intact Illuvian. I was correct on that count, at least.
Is it still a threat? Can Corypheus use it to travel the Fade?
You recall when I took you through my Illuvian, I said each required a key? The well is the key. Take its power, and Methal's last Illuvian will be no more use to Corypheus than glass. I did not expect the well to feel so hungry.
Seems like that should be a concern.
Knowledge begets a hunger for more. I am willing to pay the price the well demands. I am also the best suited to use its knowledge in your service.
Or more likely to your own ends?
What would you know of my ends, elf?
You are a glutton drooling at the sight of a feast. You cannot be trusted.
Of those present, I alone have the training to make use of this. Let me drink, Inquisitor.
What about Solus?
What training makes you so qualified?
I have studied the oldest lore. I have delved into mysteries of which you could only dream. Can you honestly tell me there is anyone better suited?
Not me. No, not me. No. I'm a stabby girl, not a mage. Whatever the hell this requires.
What about you, Solus?
No. Do not ask me again.
Okay.
Perhaps you're right.
I am. You know I am.
You're not concerned about the price. Bound forever to the will of Methal.
Bound to the will of a dead god? It seems an empty warning. Perhaps a compulsion yet remains. Who can say otherwise? I do not fear it, even so.
I hate to say it, but Abalas's plan to destroy the well may be the best one.
What happens when Corypheus comes for you again? He is immortal. The wisdom of the well may include a way to destroy him. Give me this, and I fight at your side. I shall be your sword.
Wait, can you just not? I want to listen to what everyone else thinks, but that might actually mean that you don't. Which would really disrupt the story. That's interesting.
Thoughts?
She is right about only one thing. We should take the power which lies in that well.
Really?
I trust you with this power more than her. But it's not for me to decide.
It's called the Well of Sorrows. Sorrows? No one should go in the Well of Sorrows.
Enough deliberation.
I
Give me your decision.
hate when Sarah's right. Really hate this that Sarah's right. Oh god. I really hope this doesn't make me do it. Oh god, I should have saved. Okay, let's see what happens.
Looking at it, listening to it. That's not just knowledge from the ancient elven priests. It's their will.
How would you know such a thing?
That's what Abalas was telling us. The collective will of the priests puts anyone who drinks under a compulsion, a gas. Can't you feel it?
Really, that's how you pronounce that?
The legends, but it does not tell us what the gas entails. I would still use the well, but you are right. We must be cautious.
Bublin says, wonder why he's so moody about it. What his story is. What do you mean? Solus? Because that'll come up. Alright, no, we're definitely not doing it. Morgan, I guess. If somebody's got to do it. Oh my god. I'm sure this won't turn out by far for the worst.
It's yours.
Vivienne greatly disapproves? Really? That's odd. Wouldn't have bet that. Ooh. Yeah, go ahead and splash us with it anyway, really?
Morrigan!
I'm sure it's fine.
Are you alright?
Elasin Salah. Visan Allah. I am intact. There is much to sift through. But now we can...
What? What's happening now? Oh, hi.
The Illuvian!
Hello, Scream of Rage.
Through the mirror!
Why am I glowing? I don't like glowing. Sorry, what? It's like a dog trying to run out of a sliding glass door. Oh god. I'm sorry. I know that was very dramatic and it was quite the chase and it was skin of our teeth, but that's still hilarious. I just love Corypheus being made a fool of. That part's just great. It's spectacular. It's part of that whole providential thing I keep yammering about. It's great to see. Good thing the cloth wasn't over it. That would have been awkward.
It is done.
And we're back.
I'm pleased to report we won the battle, Inquisitor. When you went through that mirror, Corypheus and his archdemon fled the field. I'm not sure why.
What he wanted was no longer within the temple.
Perhaps. He spent so long trying to get into the temple, he probably couldn't have helped his forces by that point.
Then Corypheus is finished.
If he is wise, he will hide and rebuild his strength before he attacks again.
He will not hide.
You sound pretty certain when you say that.
The Well of Sorrows held many voices, and they speak to me now from across the ages. They hold wisdom, secrets I never dreamed possible. But even they fear what Corypheus has become.
But he's not a god yet, is he?
Not yet. He is both powerful and immortal. But he has a weakness. The dragon he calls is not truly an archdemon. It is a dragon in which Corypheus has invested part of his being. He doubtless did so out of pride to emulate the gods of old. That pride can be exploited. Kill the dragon, and his ability to leap into other bodies is disrupted. He can be slain.
You're sure? If there are no bodies for him to jump to?
You assume there is a limit to the range of his power. There is not.
Then what do you propose? Killing the dragon is no simple task, if it could even be found.
There is a way to defeat the dragon,
Factory, basically.
to match Corypheus in his power. The well whispers it to me now. Your help will be required, Inquisitor. Speak to me when you are ready, and we shall begin.
Let's not do that tonight. We have a great deal more to do.
I'll see to Skyhold's defenses in the meantime.
Look, if he attacks here, especially with the dragon, we're fine. We win. Let's do some WarTable things, because I'm sure we have some things to do here and there. Oh, hi. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. There we go. What do we have? Nothing there. Okay, a couple of operations. Research the well. The Well of Sorrows was constructed in unspeakably ancient times. There may be slivers of information left in elven legends or crumpling papers in far-flung libraries. Send people to research how ancient elves made this strange artifact. Liliana, you recognize the magic used in the well? Universities in Valwario could look into it for us. They're well funded. Wouldn't the oldest human records on magic be found in Tevinter? Arrange for our scholars to visit Minrathis archives. Maybe. Point. The Seekers have written treatises on forbidden magic for ages. Cassandra could point us to some of their findings. That seems like probably the best. I must take over our investigation into the Well of Sorrows. Dozens of antiquarians and historians are begging us for the results. There have been several attempts to steal our research. While we have nothing conclusive, the research has proven useful in negotiations with interested scholars, and we should guard it accordingly, Liliana. Okay. We find something, I suppose. When Corypheus rushed from the Temple of Methal, he left his general for dead. My soldiers and I captured Samson with ease, even that he was still unconscious from your fight. While it will take the army some time to return to the wilds, we can expedite Samson's return in order to put him on trial. If you have no objections, I would be present for his judgment. Yes, let's have Cullen do this. It's his thing, but let's make sure we don't have anything else to do first. I don't want to have Cullen occupied. We need to do something else. No, okay. So 13 minutes. Might have time to do this before we're done.
To work?
Alright, cool. Let's go talk to some people. Hi, Turbo. If you look just there, you can see Turbo licking at himself. Oh, he's not anymore. He's out of view. Darn. Oh well, he's fine. Looks like he's probably leaving. We'll see. He's been sitting in exactly the same spot for probably 12 hours now. So, yeah, probably a little less than that, but not much less. So perhaps it's time for him to move on along. Or just sit behind me. I'm not sure. All right, let's see what's up with there.
So, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this. We went to an elven rune, so a witch could consume a pool of magical goo and then walked through a mirror.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And wound up back here. Have I mentioned that the shit that happens to you is crazy?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you have.
I don't think about this anymore. You want to discuss something normal?
You see. All right. Turbo's... Oh, there's his head. Okay. He's out of view. I could move, but... No. What about Corypheus? Anything new?
What can you tell me about this Corypheus?
I'm not exactly an expert, but ask away and I'll answer what I can.
You and Hawke both said before he was supposed to be dead.
He was dead. We killed him. The only way for us to escape the prison Corypheus was trapped in was to go through him. We weren't going to just leave the door to his prison open behind us and hope he was dead. We made sure.
All right. Well, that's enough, I guess.
I think that's enough about Corypheus.
No problem.
Yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense now, all of a sudden. Let's talk to Solus. Let's talk to Vivienne. Talk to Iron Bull. Talk to everybody. Where is Solus? Oh, he's over there. Okay. Leliana
The
upstairs.
Temple of Methal was extraordinary. In all my journeys, I never dreamed of finding anything like it. What will you do with the power of the well once Corypheus is dead?
I'm not arrogant enough to think it's my decision alone. Whatever happens, we'll do it together.
You think to share your power, to avoid the temptation to misuse it. A noble sentiment, but ultimately a mistake.
Why?
Because while one selfless woman may walk away from the lure of power's corruption, no group has ever done so.
And yet you expect me to listen to you in your exhortation to not listen to my advisors. Really? Okay, Solus.
I trust my friends.
I know that mistake well enough to carve the angles of her face from memory.
Why is this so important to you?
Jesus.
You have not been what I expected, Inquisitor. You have impressed me. You must not let false modesty allow you to pass your power to someone else. There are few regrets sharper than watching fools squander what you sacrifice to achieve. Forgive my melancholy. Corypheus has cost us much. The Temple of Methal did not deserve such a fate. The orb he carries, and its stolen power, that at least we may still recover. With luck, some of the past may yet survive.
I mean, it is a pagan temple, so I mean, it's a loss, but it's a loss of history, knowledge. We have some of that. In Morgan, at least.
You planning to leave before we take down the bad guy?
No, but there may not be a later. It seemed wise to say my goodbyes now.
I don't trust that. Alright, let's see about Dorian. At all.
What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done. If we're still alive.
Why?
All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
How does this relate to the Elven Temple?
You encountered ancient elves. A piece of history. Something the Imperium didn't destroy. Maybe my people can atone for what we've done. There is something still left to restore. Maybe not all of us want to, but that could be altered. If you can change minds, so can I.
Someone with your impeccable taste could transform Tevinter.
I hope you're right. You usually are. It might surprise you to know that you're the one who inspired me. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
White pill moment.
Did you know we're actually related, Inquisitor?
Oh.
Related?
Oh, not first cousins or anything like that. Can you imagine? You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in the dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan.
Dank nethers of my family tree.
To establish the branch. We are talking long ago, of course.
Dank nethers. Really, Dorian? You use that kind of language around your cousin? God.
You know that off the top of your head?
Not the top. Maybe the lower middle or thereabouts. Bloodlines are serious business in Tevinter. You're taught lessons and tested by strict nannies. I heard your family mentioned, and I had to go through all the old mnemonics, but yes, there it is. I knew there was a reason we looked so much alike.
Learn something new every day.
Nice, isn't it? Like being at a quality library, provided you're not the one stocking the shelves.
All right.
I should go.
Here I thought we were just getting to the good part.
What was the good part? And that we're related however distantly. Okay.
Here is the request the leader of the tradesmen made.
Yes,
Pyramid?
I'll see to it.
No, that's all. We go.
A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. You're right reading it.
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
We ought to do this. We might have time tonight, I think.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
Do you know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the chantry in Valence. Try not to delay.
Okay. Okay. We'll go. Do that. Shortly. Right now. Not right now, not right this moment. But, because we first should go talk to everyone else. Cullen, Iron Bull, Sarah even. She's sure to have things to say about elves.
Though all before me is shadow, yet shall the Maker be my guide. I shall not be left to wander the drifting roads of the beyond. For there is
Same
no
beyond as the
darkness
Oven
in the
Gods?
Maker's light, and nothing that he has wrought shall be lost.
A prayer for you?
For those we have lost, and those I am afraid to lose.
You're afraid?
Of course I am. Corypheus possessed that Grey Warden at Methal. What more is he capable of? It's only a matter of time before he retaliates. We must draw strength wherever we can. When the time comes, you will be thrown into his path again. Andraste preserve me. I must send you to him.
There's nothing to worry about. I have luck on my side, remember.
That's less comforting than I'd hoped. Whatever happens, you will come back.
I certainly hope so.
That's not what I was trying to say.
I can't.
Though I am flesh, your light is ever present, and those I have called they remember, and they shall endure. I shall sing with them the chant, and at all will know. We are yours, and none will stand before us. Article of Trials 15:1.
I heard reports of the events at the Temple of Methal, Inquisitor. It sounds magnificent. I hope we can explore it fully once Corypheus is defeated.
I'm surprised a Chantry Mother wants to explore a temple full of references to elven gods.
The Maker is great enough to withstand whatever truths we uncover. Whether these elven gods were myths or simply aspects of the Maker, they are worth studying. But of course, all that must wait until Corypheus himself is defeated. Was there anything else, Inquisitor?
I mean, or they're gods in terms of, like, you know, finite, powerful beings.
Can you tell me how our people are doing?
What would you like to know?
That still makes them subservient to the Maker. That still makes them underneath the Maker.
How are our forces at Skyhold doing?
With most of the Inquisition forces still at the Temple of Methal, it is surprisingly quiet. When your army returns, that will change soon enough. Soon, even Skyhold will be filled to bursting with believers coming to join the Inquisition. I have spoken with Ambassador Montillier. It will be tight, but we will have food and work for all.
Farewell, revered mother.
Maker go with you.
Right. I'm not going to talk to Morrigan just yet.
There is but one truth. All things are known.
I'm going to talk to Morrigan just yet. I can't go there. This is where we talk to Morrigan. I'm not going to do that. That's the Illuvion. Illuvion. Whatever. And it's not where we're going just yet. What happened? Why can't I go up? Oh, it's over here. That's right. Up on... I mean, so these little holes are not exactly machiculations, but they are cool. I assume they're for shooting down. But they're not angled well enough to shoot straight down. Wait a minute. This battlement even overhangs a bit. Why aren't there matriculations? I guess maybe it's difficult to model, I suppose. And what's up here? Templars, huh? Right. This is our little Templar tower. Constructed. I mean, we don't gain much from it, but it's neat. Nice little refuge for the Templars. Then we can just... Oh, we can't just hop down, can we? Yeah. Maybe we can, kind of. Alright. Onward. Okay, very cool. I really like Skyhold as a fortress. It's a great player home. Actually, I mean, it's a great fortress. Incredibly defensible. Especially the location. My god, look at this. Amazing. You can imagine assaulting or trying to assault a place like this. The only way you could possibly assault a place like this is simply by starving it out. And even then, I suspect it would be incredibly difficult. I assume that there are multiple access points up the mountains. Maybe not, but it would seem like there probably ought to be.
Corypheus died, and then he didn't.
Yeah.
That's why he always felt wrong, like he didn't fit inside himself. He wears another man's life. I thought dying was forever.
I mean, to be fair, you're not one to talk, Cole. You are wearing another man's life, quite literally.
So did I. Corypheus seems to break a lot of rules.
Where are you going?
But is it him? Is he real? If a man can be dead and then not, could I have saved the real Cole?
What happened to him wasn't your fault.
His hands were bruised from beating on the wall. It was dark, like the cabinet where he hid to escape his father. His belly hurt like knives, throat cracked dry. He was alone. I pushed through and held his hand. It was all I could do. He said, "Thank you." Thank you.
This is hitting everyone pretty hard. Everyone has serious thoughts about this.
He meant to watch forever. He called himself Sorrow.
How would you like to get out of here? Maybe do something fun?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Come on.
What? Wait, what? What's this? Hold on. I don't know if I've done this before. Oh, we're going to Val Royeaux. That's quite the momentary sudden vacation. Like walking a couple 100 miles.
Inquisitor, you honor us with your presence. May I bring a sampling of fine cheeses for you and your guest?
I don't eat.
Well then, just a bottle of a fine Ghislaine White to start. Please enjoy your meal this evening, your worship.
He saw me.
You can eat, can't you?
They all see me.
Next you'll be eating and drinking and everything else.
What else is there?
Have you used the privy yet? That should be enlightening.
I find people when their pain leaves them open. I ease the pain. I leave, they forget. That was enough for me. Now they remember, and I'm not sure...
Cole?
There was a mage named Reese at the spire. He was one of the few who could see me. He was my friend. My only friend for a long time. Evangeline showed me that Templars could be kind, but even she...
Cole, if this is troubling, we don't have to talk about it.
Gentle. You watch me walk into darkness over and over, and you always worry. Thank you. But this isn't about them. It's about... When I found out I wasn't human, when I grew, I lost Reese. I lost my only friend. That's why I was scared about letting all these people see me. That's why I laughed.
You're laughing at yourself?
Yes. This world taught me that changing means losing your friends. But now I know that doesn't have to be true. I have enough self to know that what I felt was foolish. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
It's another good step, Cole.
I might like being human. What do you think I'll learn next?
How about some ham that tastes of despair? Oh. It was nice. Nice. Many are those who wander in sin, despairing that they are lost forever. But the one who repents, who has... Oh. Game loads too fast. Anyway. I mean, it doesn't, actually. It goes to the black loading screen too fast. Kind of irritating. Alright, I know we have a quest to pick up from Iron Bull at some point. We should do that. Let's see what Sarah's up to. And then Iron Bull, and then... Oh, we have to wrap it there.
I'm sorry. Oh wait, no I'm not. It's just the
Excuse me?
funniest, isn't it? That creaky old Abelas in Methal saying the Elves weren't destroyed by Tevinter.
That's some long dead you're gloating over.
About time I got mine back. Elvie elves have shoved victim in my face 1,000,000 times. Like being sad makes them better than me. Turns out they're not victims. They're the same as everyone else. Arseholes. Plus, a big old temple full of demon-worshipping lies. Grand, that.
Man, that's... Despite her horrible abuse of the language, I like her. I like this. This is delightful.
So your main takeaway is that elves worshipped demons?
Well, I mean, yes.
Well, they never call them that, yeah? But that's what it had to be. I mean, it was impressive and all. Makes the Dalish look like tits for living in the woods, but so what? There can't be a bunch of gods and the Maker. Don't matter how much or little you believe, those don't fit. So call me stupid, but I believe the stuff not made up by dead people who failed. Methal is a ruin full of demons. I mean, it just makes sense, right?
Based Sarah. Yeah, all right, yeah. Cheers, Sarah. I'm with you here.
I'm with you.
Oh my God.
Everything in that temple was highly suspect.
Of course it was. You can't be Herald and think otherwise, yeah? I mean, that would just be daft.
Good point.
Main takeaway, we got really weird power and we can throw it at Corypheus whatever. Fighting shite with shite. It's like poetry or something, I don't know. Get a bard on that. We should go slap hands in the tavern.
All right. Wow. I was not expecting a moment of piety from Sarah, of all people. But okay. Cool.
So to kill Corypheus, all we have to do is kill his dragon first? That's easy. We're good at killing shit. Just one more big fight to put this Magister asshole down for good. I knew you'd get us here, boss.
I mean, we also just killed like 7 dragons last time. So, yeah, we're used to that.
I've been waiting for the chance to pay that bastard back.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Anything else to say?
Damn, these are good. Are these nuts or seeds or whatever? They're good.
You said we should go get some drinks and meet your company.
Yeah, come on. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do this. I need to advance Iron Bull's quest stuff a lot.
How you doing, creme de la creme?
Your worship, I'm so glad he has someone new to hit with that joke.
Is he always like this?
I'm afraid so. The chief loves his nicknames.
Hey, when I was growing up, my name was just this series of numbers. We all give each other nicknames under the Qun.
They ever wear shirts under the Qun, chief? Or do they just run around binding their breasts like that?
It's a harness, creme.
Yes, for your pillowy man bosoms. Let me know if you need help binding. You could really chisel something out of that overstuffed look.
Oh, here we go. Time to get banned from YouTube.
You don't have to pass for a man to be a mercenary.
I'm not passing as anything.
In
I mean,
Kunadar,
fair
creme
enough.
would be an Akunatlak. That's what we call someone born one gender but living like another.
And Kunari don't treat those Akun people any differently than a real man.
They are real men, just like you are.
Maybe your people aren't so bad after all.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Don't get your hopes up, creme. We still come down hard on the back talk.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, here's the rest of the charges, or what's left of the rest. A
Only
lot
thing
of
to
them
note
are
about
looking
this, I'll
for
come back to it.
stronger drinks. We've got Rocky and Skinner there, and over there are Stitches, Dalish, and Grim. Crazy bunch of assholes, but they're mine.
So, funny thing about this. This is an incredible retcon from Dragon Age Origins, where, if you recall... No, you don't recall! We played a male Grey Warden in Origins. So we didn't get that glorious little line from Sten, where if you're playing a woman in Origins and you talk to Sten, he is utterly confused by the fact that you are some kind of a warrior or a mage or a fighter or anything like that on the battlefield at all, because women simply don't do that. It is incompatible. The being a warrior and being a woman are just simply fundamentally incompatible. So what they did here between Origins and here and now in Inquisition is they inverted this. They flipped it. And they said, look, rather than defining what Sten did, defining roles by their gender, Rather, they define genders by their roles. And so instead of saying women can't be warriors, they say that warriors can't be women, so you must be a man, which means, it's still in the Qunari, that still this rigid incompatibility, and again, very much like we see today in our modern society. What we wind up seeing is a kind of erasure of gender diversity, of the freedom of men and women to be who they are and to act in a way that is personally appropriate to them. Rather, they're locked into very rigid gender roles, which is exactly what we wind up seeing with the sort of transgender ideology. If you play with dolls, you must be a girl. If you play with trucks, you must be a boy. There's no there's no wiggle room for gender roles. We as a society, as a modern Western American society, are becoming more and more like the Qunari, which is a horrifying proposition because they're like basically Soviet. Yeah. Anyway, let's go through all these in the last negative 1 minute we have. So let's just go through them all because I don't want to miss any of them because they're cool. Cool backstories.
So, how'd you join the Chargers?
Killed some people.
Skinner didn't take kindly to nobles testing their new swords on the elves in her alienage.
Bull took me in. Now I get paid to kill shams.
That's fair point.
This is actually really good behavior for her. She's not marking her territory or anything.
Oh my god.
Grim, is it?
Grim doesn't talk much. I'm pretty sure he's the lost king of some small country. Or chieftain. Something like that.
Okay.
Were you born on the surface, or are you from Orzammar?
Orzammar. I got exiled. Stupid noble crap. Also, I accidentally blew up a bit of the shape rate.
Rocky's one of our best sappers. He can take down enemy fortifications faster than a golem.
I'm also working on my own version of Qunari black powder. I've almost got it.
Yeah, you really don't.
Love the mustache. It's weird that dwarves in this universe don't all have beards, but fine. Fair enough. Cool mustache, though.
Why aren't you with your clan?
Our keeper thought I should see the world a little.
Dalish don't have Templars, so they can't have too many mages in a clan at once.
Now, sir, you know I'm not a mage. That'd make me an apostate.
You carry a staff, Dalish.
It's a bow.
A bow with a giant glowing crystal at the tip.
Yes, it's for aiming. Old elven trick you wouldn't understand.
Love it.
I take it you're the company healer.
Yes, first time I ever picked up a sword was when the Blight hit Ferelden. Never put it back down.
He makes a potion that'll put you right back on your feet after even the toughest fight. It tastes terrible, though.
That's because it's a poultice, sir. You're not supposed to drink it.
I get the feeling he tells him that every time, and he just ignores the advice entirely.
You've got a good company, Bull.
We do all right.
Man can beat the Chargers, cause we'll hit you where it hurts. Unless you know a tavern with loose cards and looser skirts. For every bloody battlefield, we'll gladly raise a cup. No matter what tomorrow holds, our horns be pointing up.
Thanks for coming by, boss. Glad you could meet some of my team.
Nice. All right. Cool. So, I'm assuming that we're probably gonna go talk to. Actually, you know what? Let's just not that. We got to do this thing for Liliana next time. We got to do the thing for Bull. There's a thing for Bull. And there's a few other things for other party members and such that we want to do. And I'm sure there's. We're probably gonna get back to some other side quests and things next week before we advance the main quest. And probably before we advance the main quest, we will do Jaws of Hakon. Not yet. Probably not next week. Maybe 2 weeks. We'll see. It is a good DLC quest line. It'll probably take us 2 or 3 weeks to actually complete. because it's actually quite a bit. There's quite a bit to it, and there's quite a lot of good to it. It's a really good quest line. So let's save real quick, and yeah. All right. Anyway, that's all the time we have. I'm actually a little bit over time, but thank you all for joining me. I've had a good time. If you've had a good time as well, feel free to donate anything that helps me keep doing this. And if you've gotten some value out of that, share some back with me. I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, this time I will certainly see you all on Monday. We'll be back to playing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and then back right here on Thursday. A couple of other things I might, voice permitting and time permitting, I might actually have time to get a couple of a video or two in the process of production moving up soonish. So keep an eye out for anything coming up. But otherwise, thank you once again for joining me. I'll see you all next time, and have a good night. Bye, everyone.